how to take oneself less seriously. So it's either, sag mir, wenn du es nicht verstehst, ja. It's either you feel some sense of seriousness all the time, or you think like you have a big head about yourself, you think you're so amazing. It's self-importance, yeah, it's some kind of arrogance maybe. But if there's just a sense of seriousness about life in general, then I don't think that's such an issue. What if I have incurable illness? How to enjoy life then? The inner enjoyment is irrespective of outer circumstance. So we're really talking about inner peace, yeah. So some kind of enjoyment, which is just the sense of something there that's enjoyable somehow. We don't know what it is, but there's a sense of contentment. Like if you can say contentment is enjoyment, then it's perfectly possible to be content and have an incurable illness. And then you could also say that actually, in fact, there are no incurable illnesses. Illness is a yeah. There's a lot that can be said about it. It really depends on the situation. Gibt es Praktiken, die du jeden Tag vollziehst? Are there practices that you do every day? No. Definitely nothing that's related to, inner peace, which is what we were just talking about. Like, I have some, I broke my nose a few times. So, and I do some breathing exercises. I don't even remember to do it every day, but just to help with the breathing. That's a practice. You like my simplistic explanations. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, it's a very down to earth thing. There isn't this seemingly insuperable what ditch or like chasm, like some kind of crevasse, like if you were walking along the ice in the mountains and there are these deep crevasses and there is something where you just can't get across. It's like we find ourselves in some kind of restlessness, discontent, and then it's kind of a heritage of religions which always have an interest in having you follow them, right? In older times, it would be financial. There's always so the heritage of that is spirituality, where there's always an interest in getting people to follow this or that, because then the person who has expressed this or that is important, can feel themselves to be important, and get some kind of, might be on some kind of power trip and get some kind of energy from people, right? So there's always some forbidding, or not forbidding, but like specialness or some kind of unattainable quality to I don't know, to freedom, let's call it that. I like that word. It's kind of neutral. It's more neutral than words like enlightenment or self-realization or liberation, or what it really is. It's like, let's say, so ego is that which kind of seemingly keeps us from living fully and freely, is the concern. All it boils down to really is the concern with how others see us. Okay, so if imagine that to stop, Yeah, we all know it. We all know the thinking, oh, what's that person going to think if I do that? Right? We all know this. Imagine that stopping. It's like a big relief, right? It's like there's a tranquility then about it, right? There's like an inner strength. There's a sense of integrity, a sense of dignity, a sense of firmness, a sense of inner freedom, right? But how special is it? Really, how like glowing, or like how much of a halo do you get from it, you know? So contrast that with how people who have been free, that we know from our historical traditions, let's say the Buddha, right? See how the Buddha is presented. That's not the Buddha who said, present me this way, but see how it's presented. Yeah, so see how freedom is presented, whereas actually, go back to imagine being free of this concern of how others see me. It's very different. So when you say simplistic explanations, it's nice to hear you say that, because it's nice to be able to talk in that way and have some resonance with people, you know, to have a conversation about it in that sense. Because even this, what's being said now, will kind of get rejected. Yeah, but there's more to it than that, and all this, and yeah, and very often people think, yeah, I understand it all intellectually, but why is it not happening for me? And this expectation still that something should happen is because that ordinariness of just not being affected, or having any desire to be seen by others, has fallen away. That's not special enough. It's too ordinary. Yeah, so the hang up is really one's own. It won't be admitted, but there is an underlying drive or motivation to get some kind of recognition. And there you go. If the desire for recognition falls away, that's incompatible with this desire to become an authority on something, to be seen as special because one is now glowing, and it's rubbish. um, Inner peace really is the result of a cessation of inner conflict. So when inner conflict stops, that's really what we're looking for. We're not looking, we want to be, we want to feel peaceful inwardly. Like the true desire, it's a desire of the organism, because the organism, the physical biological organism, suffers from this kind of oppression. Yeah, which it is an oppression, that the bondage to how we are seen, and that's obviously tied into conditioning, right? And all the false things that we've been told, or that we've assessed about ourselves and others, they are very oppressive. Look at how we might look at our own bodies, or what others have said about us, and then, or we fix ourselves as, I'm this kind of person, I'm that kind of person, I'm always miserable, I'm depressive, I'm an alcoholic, I'm like an addict, I'm this, that. All these things are oppressive physically. So there is a yearning to be free, but the yearning isn't for some kind of an egotistic goal of specialness. It's really to be free of inner conflict. And as long as there is a yearning for something special, there won't be the inner conflict won't stop, because because this yearning for specialness goes against our sense of truth inwardly, our sense of dignity, our sense of integrity and honesty. It goes against that. There's Our conscience is kind of knocking, like, that the goal to be special is not something natural, and it's arrogant. So what we're really looking for is to live freely, to express everything that we're here to express, to express whatever unique abilities, talents we have, even if that's just or like our deepest desires, even if that's just sitting around on a couch most of our life and doing as little as possible. Maybe, yeah, people like that. Other people might have a passion for getting a lot of stuff done. But as long as it's a real passion, like as long as it's what we really deeply want to do and not some goal towards success that, yeah. So the stopping of inner conflict there is already a natural tendency to get away from, like, as soon as an inner conflict is there's already like things are already in motion to undo it. Only alone I find freedom. Well, it's not really something we find, though. And yeah, you could say that, it's this whole area of conditioning and this whole concern of the egos to gain recognition, to gain attention. Of course, that's much less active when one is alone. But to be, in the midst of others and not be able to stand on one's own inwardly is not freedom. But if you think about it, if everybody knew their source of nourishment, let's say, inwardly, rather than a reliance on outside, on other people, on groups, on friends, on family, if everybody had their sort of connection inwardly to what nourishes them intact, then there would be no ego games, then there would just be harmonious relationships. So, but yeah, if there are unharmonious, if relationships teach us, maybe they're the strongest teaching point, really. By teaching, I just mean that they show up the things that hinder us from living freely. It's really the difference between living for others or living for ourselves, going along with expectations, standards, or not, or just kind of a determination to live according to one's nature. Which is always unique. In each person's case, it's a different configuration, right? A different makeup. All is movement we call life. There's nothing to me separate from this. Okay, I'm presuming that there's no question there. There always seems to be a problem with how things are. There's always like like a push, a drive to have a better experience, to find something better. Or a presumption that, oh, I found the truth. I found the real way forward, the way to look at things. Like if I look at things the right way, then I've discovered something, or I've gained some special access. But there's never a contentment with just really the way things are, without any deep insight, without any nothing, just exactly how things are. To see how blessed we already are. If you live in a house, if you have a roof over your head, if you get food to eat, how much do we really consider that, really? And then how can we say that we're not taken care of? How can we say that we're not nourished? But it's this taking for granted that's kind of stems from a human-centered view of the world, which is the whole cause of uh, all the hindrances, of the birth of ego. It's just that. Oh, hey, I did ask if you have any thoughts on that, but it wouldn't let me type any more words. Yeah, then you got to go, just send it and write it in the next line, I guess. So all is movement we call life. There is nothing of me separate from this movement. To rest feels like zero, my new favorite word. Direct experience feels empty without mind because it is empty of me. Yeah, I don't have any thoughts about that. It's to me, if I had to say something about it, I would have to kind of intellectualize or like conceptualize. It's it sounds a bit mind heavy to, yeah. Sounds a little bit to me like an insight that now is gonna make me see things in a different or better way, whereas just the ordinariness of everyday life is somehow not sufficient. And if I penetrate the veil, supposed veil, then I'll pierce through it and I'll look beyond, and then I'll see the infinite and all this stuff. It's just not the way it is. Any insights we have, any glimpses we have, they come to free us. It's a gift, it's love. They're not there to exalt us or give us some kind of special handle on things, you know? They are actually there. We wouldn't have glimpses if we didn't think in terms of problems. But if we do get tangled up, a glimpse might come, and that's a gift. It's meant to illuminate the problem, the supposed problem. It's not meant to illuminate us. And there is no, like, as soon as we see, oh, this is my perspective, this is now how I see things, this is now I have a tool to go through life with, it becomes about us. And actually, it becomes about, it also has the untouched assumption underlying, which is that there isn't a problem. So life is difficult. If I have a tool in my hand, then I'll be better equipped to deal with it. And this thought that life is hard is part of the conditioning. It's a slander that's put on life and on nature. So it just plays the same game. It's not out of the loop.